All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're catching this. This is officially the end of your podcast for our 2022 scholarship recipients. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves and then just kind of talk about our story this year. And we have a few questions we'll go over. And so, the idea for this, guys, is just to have a conversation about how the year went and hope that what we say here will inspire somebody else to take a step, right? So, my name is Coach B. For those guys that don't know, I'm the head coach here at CrossFit ELM, and then we're just going to do the loop.
Oh,
So, Janelle, you're next.
I am Janelle Bowers, and I'm emotional right now. And that's what I wanted to share. You know, it's an emotional experience.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm Annie Richardson. I think my favorite movement would probably be a push press.
And I'm Marca Garcia, and I'm one of the coaches here, and I'm my favorite coach. I'm Heather Fossler, and I would say throughout the year that I've learned that I really like deadlifting. Lifting. Lifted. I like deadlifting.
And I'm Coach Dre, and I just love being here, being around the people, and being able to share what I have learned and what I know with everybody else.
Hello, my name is Victor Romero. Like Janelle say, I'm emotional. It's kind of has been a really good year, learning good techniques, doing the workouts, and improving a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so think back to a year ago. Basically, today is when the application went out for everyone to apply for the scholarship. So think back to that. What in life was going on that prompted you to fill out that application? And anybody can go at any time. But
Well, the start of it was my mom.
my mom told me to.
My mom made me do it.
She planted the seed, and I was at a point in my life where I wasn't working out, wasn't eating well, just treating my body not the way it should be treated. So I just said, "What the hey?" Put it in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We go schoolyard pick. Who's going next?
Oh, you're being.
I'll go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I've been paying for CrossFit for 4 years, and I just haven't been making the effort, and I wasn't being accountable to myself. And I enjoyed working out, and I enjoyed coming, but it'd get to a point where sometimes it's like, it's easy to not come. And I felt like, well, I'm overweight and, haven't been working out, and I wanted that accountability. I wanted the coaches to help me with accountability.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, when you're in that space in life, sometimes you need somebody to not just hold your feet to the fire, but like literally put them in it.
Right.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
So, I get that.
For me, it was very career driven. For what I do for a living, I really needed to step up and be able to take care of myself and be healthy about it and have accountability, like everyone's saying, and just kind of get in there and actually get things done.
First of all, Jess Edelstein invited me. I saw the ads before for the scholarships, and I was thinking maybe I should have tried, maybe not. And when Jess sent me a text, or she called me, say, well, I think that's one of the signals God is sending me to be there. And I think, like, most of all, we've been struggling with something in life. I have been doing CrossFit before, but I need something different. I need something that keep pushing me, because it's not really easy. sometimes you want to try to be here at the gym, but your mind is in a different place, and you need to try to be focused in here. I mean, yeah.
I think we all had that conversation several times this year. It's like when your head's not in it, like you just show up, and we call them check the box days. Like you just have to show up, check the box that you were here, you moved, great. But yeah, when you're not in that headspace where you want to be here and you're focused, it's hard. It is hard. That's a good point.
Yeah, but thinking about that, on those days when you had a check the box day, did it help you to show up, or did you regret like, "Ugh, their check the box days are?"
No,
I don't think I don't think there's ever a day where I was like, no,
Me
that
either.
didn't help at all.
Neither.
Yeah.
And one of the things that helped me, 'cause sometimes I wouldn't come because, I'd look at the workout and be afraid. And, and
Oh.
That's me every day.
Oh, nope.
And I can't remember when it was. I think it was you, Brandon, that said, just coming here. Now I lost my train of thought. If you're not working, if you can't work out as hard as you feel like you can, it's just get here.
Just moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think that is the best decision everybody done, at the end. For me, at the end, when I show up and I say, well, thanks God that you make me show up and do the workout, because it was the best decision. It cleans my mind, cleans everything, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like when I had those days that I didn't want to show up, like coaches would very much so push me then to not only go heavier on weight if I needed to, or just kind of like realize that maybe I was struggling and just kind of settle into like, all right, just show up and do it. So I think that was also very helpful to know then that I was pushed then once I got here. So that continued to help build that.
Yeah, I found over the years that I've trusted the coaches, Marka especially. She knows me, and it was just last week she told me to put on another 2.5 pounds, and I'm like, I wouldn't have done it, and I'm like, okay. And then when I was done, I'm like, I'm glad she did that.
She's a sneaky one. She'll do that to you.
At least she told you to do it. Usually she just puts them on for you. You're like, what the heck?
That's good.
So when you guys came into this, I think you all had goals in mind, whether it was the goals that you ended with. What were your goals to start? Like when you started the program, like what did each of you have in mind as your biggest goal to get through the
I
year?
should have printed them out for you. Some of yours have changed, so that's okay. But if you can think of one or two.
Definitely lose weight for me, and to change my body. More muscular, and I'm not there yet, but I'm not going to give up.
Yeah. The key word there was yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a journey.
Yeah.
yeah,
More than just a year.
it definitely is.
I think for me, probably the biggest thing was my eating habits had gotten really bad, and just my, like you just said, body confidence, and I was the biggest I had ever been, and so that my goal was just to not be the biggest I had ever been. So
Yeah.
we're getting there. Still not there yet.
Get
but-
stung by a bee though.
Yeah, that's true. Those dang bees.
Looking back at some of those start pictures, that was the conversation that we had with you. It was like you look like you got stung by something really big.
Just swollen.
This is a big bee.
It's the queen bee. She really got me.
Oh.
You're like, thank God you didn't say that to me. I would have quit.
I would
It came from a movie quote. I think is where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Santa Claus, right?
been a rough, tough pill to swallow.
Stung by a bee. It was a big bee.
I think my goals are still the same. I'm still trying to focus on the test that I have to take. But I think that I've learned that there's a lot more to it, and the eating and that kind of stuff. And I'm learning a lot more, and I'm learning about this whole consistency thing. And I get that with the gym, but it's still, I'm still struggling with the food. So just continuing to have that pressure from you guys and new ideas. I feel like we did a couple different diet challenges and stuff throughout the year, which I think is like beneficial to finding out which is going to work for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I have too many goals for sure. But the first one it was lose weight. One day, long time ago, I was trying to ¿cómo se dice? Apretarme las agujetas. So,
Tie your shoes.
tie my shoes, and I noticed it was really hard.
Yeah.
And I say, well, I'm 38. What is going to happen when I'm, if I can make it to 55, 60?
When he's as old as Dre. That's what I hear you say.
She is the old lady of the
No, I'm 48 right now, but when that happened, and I start realize that I need to make change on my life. I mean, lose weight it was the top one, but my food also. I need to make sure change, and I'm still working on it because that is really hard. The last meeting I say it's a roller coaster. I'm doing really good, and then oh my God, like tonight probably bad decisions.
Well, so if you're watching this, we're filming this on New Year's Eve. So yes.
And we're just coming out of the holiday.
Yeah.
We had that conversation, I think, with every single person this year was like, this is going to be a roller coaster. There are going to be times where you're really crushing it. And then there's going to be times where it's like, it is a struggle. It is an absolute struggle. And so it's okay to have that part in life as long as you're willing to, and all four of you guys have said it, like, as long as you're willing to learn from it and continue with that consistency of, okay, I wasn't perfect, but I can keep going. Like, that's a huge part of this.
Yeah, the consistency for sure. I was doing really good, and then I got sick. I think it was the beginning of October, and then it took about a couple of weeks to get better, and then I just wasn't making myself come in, and so I put some weight back on. I had lost some weight that I was really proud of. Put weight back on. I wasn't working out, and then I started working out again. And, it's slowly coming off again. And it's the consistency and the working out where you have to work out.
Absolutely.
That leads us into the next thing I want to talk about. I think the very first time we sat down with all of you, we warned you. You will hit a roadblock. Something will come up in life that is just going to stop. Janelle, unfortunately, yours came right away. Very quickly. So go ahead and start off with your roadblocks and your struggles and how you were able to get through that, and then everyone else can take a turn.
My dad passed away, and then just a couple weeks later, my sister passed away.
And that was right in February
February.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, February.
So we were like 2-3 weeks
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
And I was traveling back and forth, and before he passed away, my stepmom wanted to put him in a home, and he did not want to go. So I knew he was going to die anyway. He was 92. And so those were my struggles. And then my sister, that was a very big surprise.
Yeah.
She passed
That was
away.
kind of sudden. And
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, I got to deal
Yeah.
with this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hit that right away. How was it coming out of that? Like, did that motivate you? Did it, what?
Yeah, I was ready to, really start the challenge, because I hadn't really got a chance to start it. So definitely motivated to start coming into the gym and moving on with my life.
Yeah.
I'll say one of my struggles consistently is that for a while there, I was very focused on the scale, and I have pretty much stayed, I would say, the same weight, but I feel a lot better. So I think that understanding that it's not going to be on the scale is like a big thing, and so I think that whole like consistent, or I'm sorry, the struggle of just like getting over that, and realizing that it's not about that. It's just about how I feel. I think that was like probably a really big thing. I hated coming in having to weigh myself.
Yeah. And it is tough. Like it's hard to find that balance between like, especially in the fitness industry, most of what we want to do is like, we're trying to change your body composition. We're trying to lose some weight, things like that. But like, there's that push and pull of, yeah, that can be beneficial. But at the same time, like there's other markers inside of your health that are really positive that like your weight may not change very much, but like to your point, like you were from earlier, like you're lifting heavier weights, you're doing more reps, you feel better, you know? And so it like your coaches and your peers will see those changes in you before you will. And that makes it harder. Because then they're like, oh my gosh, dude, really good job. And like they point out these things and you're like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to like absorb that and like accept that and go, oh, okay, yeah, I really am doing that better.
Yeah. I'll play on that because it's kind of like one of my biggest struggles that I found throughout the year was myself. Like just my confidence, I ironically lift everybody else up when it comes to myself. I tear myself down and I say, you can't do that or whatever. So changing that mindset was difficult and it's obviously still a work in progress, but it's definitely improved. And I'd say another one was just being in a relationship that I was continually still in those bad habits and trying to get out of that. And it was a conflict. So taking myself out of that has been a little bit better, but those are probably two biggest ones for
And
sure.
I'd like to add to that you and I had a conversation yesterday, in text conversation. I said, I'm proud of you. And you said, I'm proud of myself. And I'm really happy that I can now say that I'm proud of myself. And like, for me, that was kind of a defining moment about you.
Yeah.
And that was just last night.
Right,
And
yeah.
so I'm like, that is amazing because you have now found that you can actually be proud of yourself and not just always everybody else.
When I want to like my head just went through two things for the three of you, Heather, Annie, and Janelle. Like we talked about mindset stuff a lot because you guys all have that similarity where you're willing to go out and lift other people up and like and jazz other people up and give to other people. But then when it came to yourself, like you wouldn't give yourself that same self-talk. And so like it became a really big conversation, not just with you guys, but amongst us as coaches, like understanding like how powerful our self-talk is in this process. And like as soon as you can start making that shift, it's like it's almost like somebody snaps the fingers and like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
You know? And it is those defining moments where you're just like, wow. It's like somebody shined a light.
Right. But also that comes from I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at mentally if it wasn't for, all of you guys who encourage, and it just goes back and forth. And then that builds your confidence. And then, yeah.
I would like to say that, just kind of hit on what you just said. I liked it when we actually built the relationships. And I think in the beginning it would have been great to have working out with the group,
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks or, just kind of build that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your roadblock, Victor?
Well, I was thinking I was doing really good, but that is not true. I was struggling all the time, with the bad habits. I mean, those ones, at some point, I thought they were behind, far away, and now they appear right away, suddenly. Food and whatever. And I was a little bit sad when I had the surgery, after the surgery, because it keep me away
Yeah.
for too many things I couldn't do. And at some point, I feel really bad. And when I hear I'm getting weight, but
And that was, so you had carpal tunnel surgery, was that end of October?
yeah, 1st of November.
1st of November?
Yeah, the 3rd.
Yeah.
I mean, and I tried to tell that Marca yesterday, well, now I'm start working out again with burpees and some other stuff. It was really hard for me to get it back, and it was just like a month.
Right.
1 month you don't work out like you need to be doing it, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to live away that and keep moving again one more time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You can't dwell on that, right? Like, okay, that's in the past and I'm moving forward now and I know I have the tools in the toolbox. I know how to do this because we've been learning it and we're going to continue learning it. And so now we just keep moving forward.
Well, that was one of the goals appears later on when I started the scholarship. I mean, before, if something happened, I said, that's it. I give up. And now, when I start coming here and I see two different options for different movements, like the one you showed me yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
for me it's really almost undoable to do the lunges. I have a really hard time with my knees. But the one you showed me yesterday,
Yeah.
I was able even to have some dumbbells on weight.
Yeah. When it's, that's a conversation as coaches we have a lot with people is like, okay, we know what we can't do. What can we do? Like, let's find what we can do and we'll work on what we can do because that will build us into that place. And I remember like you and I having a conversation at one point that it was like you are a like professionally a very driven and successful person. And so it's like, well, let's apply that mindset to the gym and to your health and to your fitness. And it's like, you're the kind of person who achieves the things that you set forth for yourself. And so when you have that moment where you're like, man, I can't do that movement and I can't do that movement. Well, maybe not yet, but you're the kind of person who will do the work to get there. And like all of you guys, we had a similar kind of conversation like that. It's like, okay, the roadblocks are roadblocks. Okay, what can we do to get through them, over them, or around them?
And that conversation for me really stuck. And I try to remind myself of that all the time when it comes to getting here to the gym and working out.
Yeah.
So let's go into from there. Like, what was your first victory, or when you were like, "Oh, yay, this is actually working"? Like, what was that defining moment for you guys, for each one of you, of that yay or your first victory?
I twisted my ankle, and then I've just now recently been able to start running again. And so I think about my biggest victory moment was that I'm learning now that I want to keep going and I want to keep running. So I was excited, which is creepy.
She's excited to
If you
run,
like running,
which is
Yeah, it's like-
not, yeah, I don't think that was ever in your vocabulary.
Those two words are really.
Like today, I worked out and then I went and ran.
There you go.
So it's I'm excited to be able that I can do it, number one, and that I can see myself getting better. So I think that's my biggest victory is that I'm just being proud of myself and I'm keeping going. And though it happened and it sucked and it took me out and I was doing all these weird things for a couple weeks, now I feel better and now I can keep going and I know that I can keep going.
and you showed up,
Yeah.
even with that.
Yeah, even when you
with
were
that,
injured,
showed
you were
up.
showing up. That's a big deal.
That's huge. And that keeps that motivation going. Like, a lot of people don't realize that, right? You were injured and you showed up.
Well, and I think that's part of the process too. I think part of the process of getting to where Heather was or is, where she got injured, she kept showing up and just doing what she could do. And then once it kind of felt like, okay, I think I can try and run again, like now she goes to run again and she can. Well, part of that process of like having the mental strength of not just being willing to, but wanting to run again came from the willingness to work through that injury, right? And so that's like, that's a part of the process, right? That's a part of that
Absolutely.
roller coaster is like, okay, you've hit the pit. We got to get back up to the top of that hill.
It
How
could
are we
be
going to do that?
So easy to say, you know, I'm hurt, just
Right.
not going.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I don't remember what workout it was or what, but it was a few months in, and I noticed that like the recovery time after a workout was way shorter than it was when we had first started, and that kind of gave me motivation. It's like, oh, okay, like this is doing that. I hadn't seen anything physically change yet, but my breathing and the recovery time was massive. So I think that was a huge thing for me.
You wake up and you're just like kind of sore, not debilitated sore.
No, I can't walk. Yeah, exactly.
For me, it was, I had a really good couple of months and I was trying to hit that 17 mark and I knew I was going to do it. And then I got sick. But when I was coming in and working out, I usually weighed myself in the morning and then I'd take a picture of it and show Marka. And then Brandon said, "Did I just see that number?" And I felt really, really good.
That's awesome.
So that was a,
Oh yeah, we got into Wonderland.
yeah,
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
that was my defining moment.
That's a good one.
Wonderland's a big deal.
It is.
Dude, I'm with you on that. I remember when I did my weight loss journey and the first time that scale said 1 in front of it instead of a 2, and it was just like, finally. Oh.
Well, for me, my biggest achievement,
Yep.
it was the overhead squats. That one, I never had it done before, just with the PVC pipe. Even with the PVC pipe, I just told you that I have a big problems with my knees. And it was maybe 3 or 4 months ago, one of the Marcas Tuesday, I think, something like that.
Tuesdays with Marka. Every day's with Marka.
Well,
Tuesdays are real nice.
Yeah, Tuesdays are nice.
she started putting a little bit more weight on the bar, and put it a little bit more on the bar, and I was able, if I remember right, it sounds something familiar for you. That put more weight on.
Yeah, it seems like it's a theme.
Check her mental health.
So hard.
Did you hear her?
Yes.
For mental health later.
Well, I think I was able to lift 65 or 75 overhead squats.
Yeah.
That is a big winning.
Yeah.
And weight, technique, and everything. I have maybe 4 years trying to do that. And I never could have done it before. Like I said, just the PVC pipe. But
Well,
now it's different.
For you, Victor, you're an electrician. And you've been, how long have you been doing that?
Almost 20 years.
20 years. So like 20 years in that trade, like of just beating your body up, and now you come into something like an overhead squat, which is super difficult to begin with, and to have like the ability in your knees and your hips and your wrists and your shoulders to be able to do that, like it's more than just the strength of it, right? It's that you were in a place that your body healed enough from 20 years of being an electrician to be able to do something that you didn't think you could. So that's something that people, I think, misunderstand about CrossFit is they think that CrossFit is like this always this ridiculously intense, like all the weights are 300 pounds and like we're doing backflips while we're doing deadlifts and like crazy stuff like that. That's you know, for most people, it's like, okay, I've been doing life for the past 10, 15, 20 years and I'm beat up from it. These things hurt. Okay, what can we do to heal those hurts so that you have the capacity to do the things that our bodies are built to do? You know, so 75 pounds is not just a strength marker, it's a healing marker. That I think that even we as coaches, sometimes we miss that. It's like you had to go through 4, 5, 6 months of like just healing your joints before you had the capacity to do that. You know, so that's, I mean, that in like aside from the weight PR, right, the personal record, it's also the fact that you had the capacity to do that is a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big winning for me.
So thinking about who you were a year ago and who you are now, what do you see as the biggest differences between a year ago and now? And then if we disagree, or if we have another one we want to add to, we'll add to it. Because of course, us as coaches see tons of differences in everybody.
I'm just gonna keep going first because if I don't,
Because
yeah, it's gotta come out right now. I think that my biggest difference is I've been like working out pretty consecutively before this, but I think this is the first year where I've actually like noticed a difference because people are challenging me. I feel like I can do more reps. I feel like I can do more weight, and you just said that, but I feel like I truly can. And this sounds super cliche, but I feel very unstoppable. Like I feel like I'm gonna make my goals and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna make my goals, and I'm really excited to see and stay and keep going and just keep pushing myself. But I really feel like I was just like in a lull, but like now I feel very motivated and I feel like I can start not necessarily seeing, but I feel like I can do all of this. So that's a lot different than where I was at.
So, as a coach, it was probably about a month ago. We had a workout with deadlifts in it, and like we were working up, and like in the workout, you were gonna go for like a lower weight, and I was like, "No, dude, you're moving that weight. Go for the RX weight. Do it," and you did it, and like in that moment, I personally, as a coach, saw a change, not just in how you approached it. I saw a change in your face, like in your eyes, in the way you like looked at that workout. Like the first time, like you picked up that weight, like you finished the workout and you were tired, but it was like that, like somebody flipped the switch on. You're like, oh snap, I can do this. Like it was like that it was like a light bulb, and I watched your face change. And I remember, so Dylan has been a super big pusher for you, I know. And so like he and I talked about it. I was like, dude, talk to her later and see if you see the same thing I do. And then he and I talked about it later, and it was like, yeah, dude, something changed. And I was like, yes.
It's crazy. Not only us as coaches notice, but just the other members do too. Because there was another workout. It was Air Force, which is really a rough workout. It has a lot of burpees in it, and you're trying to complete all these things. And someone else in class like came to me afterwards and was like, "I'm so proud of her. She completed that whole thing like a rock star." And so like also other people see that difference too. So that's cool.
And I'd like to add to the mindset, like we had with all of you guys, maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago, was the mindset talk during our check-ins, and just your mindset. And I've seen that you don't berate yourself as much as you used to. You used to beat yourself up so much. And I've noticed, like, I notice when you stop and think about that you don't do it. And that has been such a refreshing thing for me to watch in you.
I'd say that was probably, since we're on that topic, that's probably the biggest thing for me. And I think that, and also like the confidence in myself, like not only in like talking yourself, you can talk to yourself all you want, but like saying like, oh, I can't do this, and then having Marka put more weight on, and then and then realizing you can do it, and that builds your confidence. And it's like, oh, so I didn't think I could do that. Now I know that I can do that. Okay, so what else can I do that I didn't think I could do, you know? So I think that for me that's huge, and it's playing a role in every part of my life, not just my health. I'm realizing that I don't have a lot of confidence in a lot of areas, but each one of those little steps builds that confidence. And like doing the 14er, I was like, oh, there's no way I could do it, and I did it, and it was like, so in your brain, you're like, okay, so that just raised. So now my bar's up here as to what I thought I could do and what I can do.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Can you share with the group what your mantra is? Because you share it with me when I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And so I know that it helps me when you share it. And so it has to help you every day.
It does. It's I am beautiful, I am strong, and I am capable. And capable was,
And you love cardio.
and I love cardio. Right. We're still working on that one. It's a little bit better now that I can breathe a little bit better. But that capable, and when I first wrote it, I just got chills a little bit. When I first wrote it, I was kind of just trying to think of a word, you know? But that word has really like just what I just said. It's like, oh wait, I am capable of that. I can do. I can step into this, and it is uncomfortable sometimes, but I am capable of it. You know. So yeah.
Yeah. So I get the chance to coach Heather and Annie often. I don't get to coach Victor and Janelle as often, but for me, again, it was a workout. I don't remember the workout because it was you and Nicole in class. We were warming up for snatches, and you guys were both going to do like 75 pounds, and I was like, no, you're not. And they both looked at me like, you are crazy. There's no way we're doing this. It's Isabel. It's one of our CrossFit benchmarks. And like you were both going to do 75 pounds. And I was like, no, you are both capable of doing this at 95 pounds. Put it on the bar and deal with it. And you both did it. And you both did it in the time window that I wanted it done. And so for you, it's that constant back and forth between you and Nicole, because you two are like ridiculously strong. But that workout, like for me, that was the workout where I like, after that workout, I looked at you and I could see something changed.
Yeah, I specifically remember that word.
And it was like,
It was tough, but
yeah,
it was
oh God.
capable.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Both of you wanted to flip me off the entire
yeah.
time.
In my brain, I was.
But it was, I specifically remember that workout, like you finished it and you're laying on the ground, but you had that look in your head as you're staring at the ceiling going, what the hell did I just do?
But that was one of those moments. That
Yeah.
was a moment in now when I legitimately thought like, there's no way I could do that. There's 20 more pounds, you know, in your brain.
Uh-huh.
But then that's that moment where I realized like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can do it. I guess I am capable of that. So
Yep.
yeah.
I like that, capable. It's a great word.
Yeah.
So I've known Annie for a really long time. And I don't know like why I know her as well as I do, but I've always known you have been more capable than what you allow yourself to be. So I've kind of been the pusher with you. The other two are like, no. And I'm like, no, she can do this. She just needs to do it. We may argue about it, yeah.
We may argue about.
I'm like, leave her alone.
We argue about all four of you guys. Let's be serious with this.
But the fact that she knows you and I'm like, no, and I'm that way with everybody else.
She is. Dre is like, oh no, it's fine. And I was trying to get you to do. So you had talked about it like you were in a bad relationship, not a bad. I don't know how you want to define it. You were in a relationship that wasn't making you feel capable, and I wanted you to do something, and you got out of that relationship, and I was like, great. Now you can do this. We're going to do something huge. And you didn't go as deep into it as I wanted you to, which is fine.
But I said it was okay. I approved your plan.
Dre got you off the hook.
I approved your plan.
Yeah. But you came up with your own version of 75 hard.
It was 45 medium.
It was 45
Just
Annie.
kidding.
What does that mean?
I made it up.
So, but you put things in, like you quit something that was really hard, not to be mean, quit drinking, especially the high calorie drinks.
All the foo-foo drinks.
Oh, no calorie.
Calorie-free vodka.
No such thing.
Dang it.
And you did the 800-gram challenge with us, but you extended it to 45 days instead of 30 days. You made sure you worked out every single day. Was that it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you committed to
Water.
doing that. Oh, and a gallon of water. Yeah, but
Yeah, she did.
yeah. And you did that for 45 days, and you did not think you could do it.
Yeah,
And did you?
right, yes.
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 Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have you to thank for, I mean, and all of you guys, but especially Marka, just because like what you just said was, it's like you guys are able to see those capabilities, you know, that we can do, and we can't see that. So pushing, and then just like that moment where it's like, I see this in you, so I'm going to push you to do that, even if you don't want to do it necessarily all the time. I'm going to do that because you know that that's going to build that confidence in saying, oh, wait, I actually can do that. Yeah, it's good.
Good. Victor wants to go last.
It's, my head is where I want it to be, is in terms of coming to the gym, being consistent. And that's a big deal from where I was a year ago. I've worked out most of my life. I mean, there was a time in my 20s and 30s that I had to work out almost every day, and just because I enjoyed it. I mean, it made me feel good. And that's where I want to be. And I feel like I'm there again. And I'm not afraid of looking at the workout, and I'm not afraid of coming, which I was. And I don't know why. I was afraid.
I think we all were. I still get afraid.
And I can say with
Yeah.
you too, like the thing that I saw as your defining moment from me on the outside was after your dad and your sister, it was maybe a month or two later, you came into your one-on-one, and you had a very, very vulnerable day discussing that. And just after that whole meeting that day, like I saw a shift in you after like just being pure vulnerable, like that entire hour. And I was so proud of you after that. Well, before, but like at that moment, I saw such a difference, and you started showing up and, doing all of the things that you were supposed to do and that you wanted to do for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's huge, is that just being vulnerable a lot of times allows us to move forward.
Yeah, that meeting, like, I think what it was is you had some moments of honesty, not with us, but with yourself. And so coming out of that meeting, I felt like your shoulders lifted, like you were a lighter person. And so it allowed you to get some traction going the direction you wanted to go. And it was like, up until you got sick a couple of weeks ago, like you were on it. And you just hit that.
Blazing.
And it was that moment you're like, okay, I don't have to carry this anymore. Like, I'm good. Let's go. And you just took off running, And now you're in that place, like you slipped up a little bit when you got sick, but now you're like, you've come back into that where it's like, okay, I just got to put my feet back on the ground and keep going. I know I can do it now.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. It was almost like proof of concept. It was like, you knew you could do it. You knew you could do it. We've known you for a couple of years. Like, we've all known, like, well, I know I can do this. And then you had that moment, and then I can. Right? Back to your word. I'm capable.
right.
I'm capable of this.
Yeah.
And you caught the momentum.
I
Right?
agree with them. I think that day was just a huge difference. It was like you were carrying things, and you had these things that you were struggling with personally, and that's okay. Like, we all do, but you like, what?
Yeah.
Here's me.
Word vomit.
Yeah.
This is Janelle. And we were like, okay, sweet. All right, let's go. What are we doing next? And then you just went.
And that again is a testament to this program and the scholarship. It did feel good to come in and let that out and know that I am capable.
Yeah.
Let's just move forward, and it felt really good.
It's so much more than just coming and working out. Like the relationship that's built between the coaches and you, it's a safe space. It's a place where
Yeah.
you can be vulnerable, and you can open up and share those hard times in your life, because that's what exactly it's life, It's not just working out, it's not just eating right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Picture's like, crap, they're back to me.
Well, what I can see from last year or starting this year from now, I get out from my comfort zone. And that is huge for me because I think I'm a little bit related with every one of you, that I was here and I want to just have this weight because I feel comfortable here. I want to feel really good. But after Marca was helping us when some more weight on it,
She's a common thing.
There's this weird thing going on.
and we start realizing, we start realize, I'm sorry with my words, but realizing, like you say, I'm capable to do more and more. It's a huge, I mean, I feel stronger. I feel motivated. And a huge dimension from where I start from now. It's a huge difference.
And I don't get the opportunity to coach you very often. I see you in our check-ins mostly, but you always do what we tell you to do. You don't even question it. Like,
Yeah.
we give you a task and you do it. Like if we tell you something with food, or we tell you something with maybe an energy drink or something that you're drinking, you make the change and you have never questioned us. And I like,
Well, he really questions us, but he
but not
he-
to our face. He goes home and he's like, what did they do?
I did.
But it worked, right? Like you did, like we gave you that direction, and like that I think also is something for you that like is such a big thing that you trusted us to enough to listen.
And
to
I
that.
and I'm still trusting you. You know, that is one of the things I'm still working, because like you're saying, I read a bit of the start keep drinking kombuchas. I was a really huge fan of kombuchas, and I keep them away. But I was start searching for something else.
Yep.
You know, like my mind was playing with me. Okay, you leave that, but now you need to start getting something else.
And you crowded
And I'm
it
still
out.
working with that.
But you crowded it out and replaced it with something else. You drink bubblies and
Oh, yeah.
you did
Oh, yeah.
a good job. You know, that was phenomenal, and you you listened.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that even as coaches that we've learned big this year is like, as you try to make these shifts in your life, like you can't just quit a habit. You've got to crowd it out with good things, right? Like the way our brains work, like if you want to establish good habits, you have to use those good habits to crowd out the bad ones so that you don't have time or space or energy for the quote unquote bad habits or the ones that you're trying to replace. It may not just be, it may not be a bad habit. It just might be something that's like, hey, this isn't serving me anymore, and I need to crowd it out of my way. Yeah. So we're coming up on time, so we're gonna jump to kind of the last question here. And so, looking back a year ago when you guys applied and you wanted to be a part of this program, or for you guys have been doing CrossFit for a while, like, if you could say something. So if you could say one thing to somebody who's either thinking about starting CrossFit or they're thinking about applying for this scholarship, but they're afraid, they're tentative, they're like, oh, I kind of want to, but I'm.
That marker girl sounds mean.
You're like, what classes does she coach? I can't.
If you could say one thing to them, what would you say? And since Victor went last the whole time, I'm gonna make him go first.
He was letting ladies go first.
No, he must be anxious.
Just one word.
Anything.
One sentence, one thing, one thought. Like, right? Somebody out there who's just like you, who's been in the trades for 20 years, and they know they've got to make a change because they want to serve their family, but they're not sure or they're afraid or
Or
whatever.
something, your culture, you've talked about your culture a lot too.
Yeah. Like, what would you say to them that might make them go, yeah, okay, you're right?
Well, believe in yourself. Because if you hear everything we were talking about, most of us at the first we don't believe in ourselves at the first.
Yeah.
And now our mind is still changing. We're still having struggles with something, but now everything is different. Believe in yourself, give you a time to try it, because it's going to change your life for sure. I can 100% guarantee that. Look, can I say it in Spanish?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Crean en sí mismos, porque la mayoría de nosotros no creíamos en nosotros cuando nosotros comenzamos. Creíamos que no éramos capaces de hacerlo. Y ahora nos hemos dado cuenta que con el tiempo podemos todavía alcanzar más de lo que ya hemos alcanzado. Seguimos teniendo dificultades con algunas cosas, pero estamos trabajando para pasar a través de ellas. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I know.
Heather goes, he's talking crap about you. He wouldn't.
I think mine, honestly, I think it's above and beyond. I truly think it's the gym. I think that what you guys are doing here and the people that you have and the coaches that you have, among you three, I really believe that it's a safe space, that you've said it before. I think you guys are incredibly encouraging. I think that staying consistent, you actually, can I give a shit?
Yeah.
You guys give a shit about who is in your gym and who is here, and you're paying attention to everyone. So I truly think like this is a place to take that plunge and to do that shot, because nobody else, I mean, other gyms, I'm sure they care and stuff like that, but I've been to plenty of other gyms, and this is the only gym that like you guys truly checked in with me, and not even like because I was in the scholarship, but I truly feel like I see you guys checking in with everyone. So I think that this is the gym to take a chance.
Yeah.
That's truly. And I'll take the money for that.
She'll pay for you.
I think I would say, first of all, embrace the uncomfortable. At first, it's really difficult, but that uncomfortability becomes comfortability. Even when Marka puts more weight on, it's a little uncomfortable at first, but then it becomes capable. And then I think the other one would be you are capable. You can do it, even when you don't think you can. And take that small step. You don't have to come in and deadlift 450 pounds right away. You know, it takes progress. And I would agree with Heather in the fact that this is a safe space. And if you don't have that confidence and you don't want to step into that comfortable, they help you step into that uncomfortability and make it comfortable for you. So, yeah.
So I wanted to go before you because you took the words out on that.
What she said.
I would say get out of your comfort zone and apply. And I would also say take it serious and use the resources here because they're great resources. And like Victor said, it'll change your life.
Yeah. And we were just having just before this started, the three of us were having a conversation, and it's like, it's not just that it's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Like be
right.
willing to step into something that's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Because familiarity, even if it's bad familiarity, it's familiarity, and we want to stay with that. So if you step into something unfamiliar, it's scary. But it's almost always worth it. And I think that the four of you have different perspectives on why it's worth it, but it's always been worth it every time we have this conversation. And so it's like, for you guys, like, and as coaches, like, thank you for trusting us. It's a big deal. This is a big thing for us. It's our way to give back to our broader community here locally. And so, and it takes a lot of trust to do something like this.
Yeah.
And so, because we will have those vulnerable conversations, and you're like, who are you that I'm going to say this to you? Like, what? But you're willing to trust that we're going to use that well. Yeah. And so thank you for that. And thank you for the work that you guys did this year, because for each and every one of you, the progress looked different, but it was progress. And for each and every one of you, this year, it was very profound. for the group of you. So it was cool to see this year.
Can I add a disclaimer to this? You guys keep saying the market keeps putting on weight, but I want to also like address for anybody who is applying that as coaches, we're very aware of when you need to scale something. Like we scale you appropriately to make you safe to work up to that capability of adding more weight. I know that we do encourage you to go more weight, but we do also give scales. Like Victor's knees yesterday, we have scales for that.
Know us.
Right. We
I have to
learn.
scale a lot.
Yes.
As I said, I trust Marka, and she knows me. So does Brandon. I don't have you as a coach very often, but so it's that trust and,
You'd have to get up super early. As a coach.
That's a big thing, like, coming into this, not having to take weight off, and all of that, like that was the scaling part. When you think of CrossFit, you're like, oh, gee, like you just said, like doing backflips and whatever. But like that scaling for me is that comfortability and vulnerability of like, okay, here's where I'm at, and you guys meet that, and you see that, If I couldn't add weight, you wouldn't add weight, and so
Well, and it goes back to those check the box days that we talked about at the start of this. It's like you're gonna come in here some days and like as a coach, I can tell that like, okay, you're somewhere else today.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I'm gonna look you in the face and be like, hey, how you feeling? Hey, you know what? That's okay. Today's a check the box day. We're gonna bring the loads down. Hey, since you're not feeling great, we're gonna bring these reps down and we're gonna get a sweat in. We're just gonna move and we're gonna feel good about it. And at the end of the workout, you feel good about it.
right.
yes.
And then some days you feel like a world beater, and
Yeah.
you can, as a coach, I can see that. And then I'm gonna look at you and be like, hey, you're doing the RX weight today,
Right.
and that's part of the trust of that process.
Definitely. That makes it easier to come in on those days. Where it's like
Yeah.
you are
Yeah,
feeling
because you're not scary that
right.
today I have to lift a lot and I'm not going to be able or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
I think that like it
Confident.
goes back, like you guys have our best interests, and I'm not saying that just the scholarship, like truly just everyone. Like it's not just you that challenges me. Brandon is equally as
Yeah.
challenged.
Yes,
And where are you from?
And that's like, but that goes back to everything. Like
Yeah.
it ties all back together. It just shows that I'm capable of doing something that I never would have done on my own
Right.
without someone being there to push me and be like, no,
Yeah.
yes, you can
Exactly. Goes
do
both
that.
ways.
And then if I do it and I fail, then we just figure it out. But it's never, I don't think it's been a bad or a negative thing that I've been challenged here. I've never been like, screw them because they challenged me. That's absolutely never been a thought. It's always been a positive thing.
I want to thank you three for, allowing me to have this opportunity for this scholarship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate
agreed. Yeah. Thank you all.
Right on, guys. Well, scholarship application is open. It is on our social media. Applications are due by January 8th, 2023. And then we'll start that process with our new batch for 2023. And you guys will get the opportunity to kind of pass the torch to the new group, which is always one of my favorite things. So again, thank you guys. And does anybody have any last things they want to say? All right. Thanks, guys. Have an excellent day.